fans and to talk a little bit about his recent success, a big win for your Misfits boys. And also, you first thing you said as soon as you got yourself in the studio is, anyone predict us? A big fat goose egg. Of course, Yamato and Froskuren joining me as well. Razork did pick up the Kia player of the game, though, with 81% of the votes. Big plays from Razork during that game. The Gragas, Yamato, you seemed convinced.
Honestly, the first Gragas performance I saw from Razork was kind of like the resurgence, because he had the rough Jarvan game, and then the Gragas game, he kind of popped off. He had the silly Nash situation, but I liked what I saw. He was where he was supposed to be, and this game was also a great performance. He picked up all the kills, and he did things with them as a jungler. In 10.2. Fantastic.
Junglers doing things in 10.2. Who thought we'd see it? Febby, how was that game from your POV? I mean, we talk about our predictions. I mean, how was the game to play?
I mean, I think it was a hard game for me because I think the strength of OG is like, you know, their solo laners and then their consistency. So I felt like usually I can get more ahead, but against like Nuktak and Afari and their top side, they play very controlled. So I felt like our jungle and support were really like abusing their jungle support with the picks as well and just playmaking. And I think my jungler played actually insanely well. And I'm really happy with how my whole team played. And I actually think I got really carried this one.
Something that really jumped out of the page during Law's interview with Amazing, talking about some of the interactions he has with the players, and he was telling me that it's a new world out there for him, talking to newbies and the way they see the game. I say newbies, let me try rookies, excuse me, but definitely not newbies. They've been playing this game a while. But like the idea of how, you know, Razork, as an example, he said he's talking about landing a sick Hylissang Q, and Amazing's, you know, thinking big picture. Have you noticed the same kind of thing as Amazing, that playing with these rookies has its changes, its differences to, say, you know, Fnatic, we're about to talk about later?
For sure. Like, I mean, my jungle is kind of a main Echo in solo queue, and he's so insane with Echo, you know, but it's like, there's just some champions that don't work in competitive, or like you have to be really, really good at them, you know? But I think he's actually someone that can pull that off. Like the champion that's not meta, and he can actually put that into the meta, you know? So I'm excited to see what's to come, but it's definitely like a challenge to like, sometimes you need to tone it down a little bit, you know, because like some things clearly don't work.
Yeah, maybe he needs someone to say no a couple of times.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Frosk, what
Is that the main voice that you play on the team? Do you feel that you are like the leader or like the big brother, like, stop, calm down, we're going this direction? Or do you kind of like take your hands, like, Jesus, take the wheel?
It depends, you know. There's obviously things that I am more like skeptical about, but there's also things that like I'm really open to try new stuff, you know. So I will give them a chance, you know. But if I feel like we're really trolling, then I want to practice something else, you know, because you only have limited amount of time. But it's about a balance, you know. You can't just completely shut it off because then mental boom and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and limited amount of time is exactly what we have, because I want to make sure we have enough to talk about Fnatic versus G2, two of the best teams in the world, and they're both coming in solid form. Now, the main kind of headline act has been not only the fact that they're coming in such form, both of them, for us, that's how we started the show, but the Caps and Rekkles conversation is one I cannot wait to turn some rocks over and to understand completely.
I mean, you're going to hear the words, let's like get them out of the gate, like Kings, Legacy, Dynasty, History, it is all there. But the fact of the matter is there is no better rivalry right now in League of Legends, because you look over LCK, your SKT and your T1s are not at the top, or your SKT and your KTs are not at the top. EDG and RNG, they're not at the top. CLG and TSM, they're definitely not at the top. So the fact that Europe has G2 and Fnatic in 1 and 2 form, G2 looking to go undefeated, Fnatic looking to tie them up, and then how competitive they have been also on a global scale, that's what makes this the best rivalry in League of Legends right now.
Febby, we asked the analysts earlier to talk a little bit about who they think is going to win, forcing predictions out of our analysts. And I'm not going to force a prediction out of you, but could you tell me about how the win conditions shape up in your mind? How does G2 manufacture a win? How does Fnatic manufacture a win?
I think it's pretty clear to me. It's top lane is kind of AFK depending on the matchups. You know, if Wunder's gonna play Soraka, top lane will be non-existent. Depends on like what kind of matchup they want to play against it. I feel like the mid lane is the huge thing for me. I feel like Jankos, Perkz, they are way better than Selfmade and Nemesis. Like, and I think that will be their main winning condition. But obviously, like for Fnatic, it's the bot lane, right? Like we know already they're going to gank bot lane. They're going to pick setup and they're going to gank. You know, I feel like if they don't get it and they actually get behind on bot, I feel like it will be really hard for Fnatic to win.
I need to echo that sentiment. I think, you know, with the bot lane of G2, sometimes they've kind of slipped up. They kind of die in a 2v2 situation. It looks like they're looking in top, well, there's a fight, and then they get Nautilus queued, and something goes wrong. I think if you do that against a Fnatic, it could get dangerous, but I agree completely with the sentiment. If G2's bot lane is ahead for some reason, because of something happening in the mid 2v2, transfer into bottom, then I think also that spells doom for Fnatic.
If you had to put a percentage on it, Febby, like 60% G2 win, 40% Fnatic win, like where would you put it? How close do you actually think the matchup is? Because when we heard from everyone, everyone's like G2, 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 and any sane person is always going to say G2 here, but I feel like a lot of the sentiment is G2 are about to smash Fnatic in 20 minutes, and I don't think that that's true.
No, I don't think so. I think it's actually really close. Like, I really want to say 50-50. I think it's like, I really think it's a 50-50. You know, it's like Fnatic's strength is bot lane, G2's strength is mid lane right now. You know how they play, and like, I think the mid late game is kind of similar. They're really good, you know, both of them, and they really play well towards their like scaling and stuff. But I think it's really a 50-50, you know?
So I want to check back in to see if it's still a 50-50 as soon as we see the drafts, because I feel like this is certainly a matchup that does come down to like execution and kind of what appears on the stage.
For sure.
We talked a little bit about it before, the idea of like ace up the sleeve, curveball. We analyzed the draft, Yamato. What were those kind of expectations of surprise that you had coming into this one?
I think, you know, the Syndra flex that Fnatic didn't use yesterday, they just locked in Misfortune right away. I think that's a big question mark. Is Fnatic just taking Syndra away from the red side because they don't have room to ban it? That's the question. The Aphelios and the Senna, what's going to happen with those? All these AD carries are super powerful, and then what happens to Caps when these are out? Does he play MF? Who knows?
So we'll say goodbye to Set, or Zac Efron, as I like to call him.
So it's curious to ban Set from the blue side. Usually we have been seeing Set as a red side. Febby, does that indicate to you what they want to do with 2 topside bans now for the priority pick?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think, like, I mean, I think Set on blue side is pretty good ban because I think Fnatic flex pick it, you know? I don't think it's that good blue side blind pick because there's actually a lot of champions, but I'm not sure what they want to do, honestly, with these 2 bans.
I mean, the clearest thing to me is the fact that none of the ADCs are going to be touched. So if we do see kind of a traditional either Aphelios or Senna priority, although it does feel, as Febby's kind of alluding to, that flex picks are probably going to be the go-to between G2 and Fnatic, just because of how versatile and deep the champion pools are.
Yeah, this is a clear first pick Aphelios, yeah. Has to be. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be crazy. I wonder what the 3rd ban will be. Usually they want to just rotate Elise here together with the AD carry and then wait with support and top for 3rd. Soraka ban. I like it. Love the Soraka ban. Ooh. Get rid of this champ.
Maybe they go Senna. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the reason why G2 loves Senna and just healing in general, like they just play Senna bot, you have a healing, then they play Soraka top, and then their mid jungle just pick something that's aggressive. Well, good luck skirmishing that. You can't, you know? So if you don't punish the side lanes.
In terms of jungle priority here, because this feels like this should be a snap lock, like Aphelios plus jungle.
Elise, give me Elise.
Do you think it's the Elise that is up here, or do you think you need the engagement?
I think either way, Elise, Listen works the same way. I just like Elise more because it gives you just that extra power at level 3, that power spike in 10.2 for junglers. I
will say though that the level 6 though, obviously like the power spike between Lee Sin and Elise for level 6, especially if, as Febby's saying, that Jankos and Perkz can be so powerful in that 2v2. If you can get a really strong mid-jungle duo there, especially on level 6, maybe you don't just get completely pushed out of this lane.
Yeah, I think Elise is kind of, I mean, if you're really good playing topside game, then I think Elise is a good pick, but I feel like for Fnatic, it's actually not that good because I think Nemesis doesn't play that much AD champs. So Lee Sin fits more with like his style, you know, because he's more reserved and like he's better on the mages, right? But for Perkz and G2, it's, yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that this guy will just run in enemy jungle and, you know, like the lanes will get ahead.
Yep.
I'm just hoping for the trash lock-in because I think if you leave support after pinch, it gets dangerous, especially for Senna. She's so immobile, and I don't want to see Mikyx Tam for the first time.
I don't want to see his Nautilus either.
Yes.
Well, you might see it.
I guess.
I'm actually super curious why they would go for the Aatrox here. Now, obviously, it can still be a flex, but I was actually really feeling a potential Lucian coming out for a flex pick, especially with Gangplank still left open and available. I feel like there were just a lot more other options that could be much more aggressive in the lane phase than something like an Aatrox so early on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a good takeaway from Bwipo for sure. I'm not sure how much like counter picks Bwipo has. I mean, I guess he has the gang. I mean, he has a lot, right? But I agree, G2 can pick more aggressive. for sure, but there's like 10 picks that would have picked there and it would have worked, you know?
So do you feel that kind of with like the bans of Set, Ornn, and then like the Aatrox on third, that it's more of like a denial pick? Like obviously Wunder is a phenomenal Aatrox player, but because you are against Bwipo, you know it's going to be the Aatrox GP matchup?
I mean, we never know, right? I mean, I think the matchup is good. If they can also still flex it in case, you know? Like if they maybe, I mean, they will probably last pick the mid, so I think it's probably just for Wunder, yeah. I mean, I think it's just this champion, if you get a reset in a team fight, it's just like one auto attack, you get 500 HP. It's a little bit like busted, even though they nerfed it so many times, you know?
I think the matchup is super good into GP as well. Like after level 7, Aatrox can almost solo dive them, and it kind of paints the picture already for what we wanted to see, especially what you mentioned, Fab, even with the bot lane play, with the GP ult. It's a Fnatic classic, and then Elise Aatrox already gives you options to play heavy into topside and gank Bwipo. And Bwipo has been a bit of a liability in terms of getting killed over and over.
Yeah, actually, I think if G2 get mid prio on this draft as well, I think their top side, this GP he will get wave stacked in and he will just like get denied a lot.
So what do you think then is like the pick that has to be Asi? They were afraid, they were afraid of Lucian. What do you think the pick has to be then for Nemesis to make sure that they can get first rotation top?
That's a hard one because there's already 6 mid bans.
I mean, LeBlanc has slipped through,
banned, right?
but you would assume that it's LeBlanc.
I think they're not banning LeBlanc. Maybe they're looking to... I mean, Nemesis is not the biggest LeBlanc player, but I think they shouldn't ban LeBlanc here, and G2 should actually look to get the LeBlanc.
Go for the gamble. I like it. So let's see if Nemesis plays a LeBlanc or not. That's the biggest question mark. Beyond that, what do you play mid here? Diana, I guess?
I think, actually, yeah, he's actually really good Diana player. Like, he was actually the first one who was like, okay, I was like thinking, why do you blind pick Diana, you know? But it's actually like, the way the Fnatic plays, he makes it work, you know? It's like scaling safe, you know? It's like he can TP to the side lanes, like perfect for them, you know?
How do you feel about a potential Diana LeBlanc if that happens to be the matchup? Because Fnatic are hiding their cards.
I think Nemesis is pretty comfortable with that because he's like the type of player that it's really hard to snowball on because he's so reserved. But I think, I mean, the matchup, G2 will get prio for sure early game. It's just how much they use it towards the side lanes. If they don't get anything, I think right side really hard out skills.
For sure. I'm still worried about the Diana pick with how much you will have to give up early against the Elise and potentially a LeBlanc if it's the 5th pick.
I think it's fine, actually.
If G2 can transition a lead already from the get-go and already dive GP and kill him over and over, maybe level 4. We saw even Perkz roaming even yesterday with the set and getting a double kill, and the game was just broken.
Fresh off a victory with Diana, and Feathervin's believing Diana can win any 1v1.
Oh, okay.
Right.
They needed the scaling option. They probably didn't want to sit
and they just locked Veigar
mid-game.
Veigar's really troll, no? We talk about mid-prio.
Guys, we were just spending 20 minutes theory crafting about LeBlancs and Dianas. Wait. I'm seeing a rise of Veigar.
Febby, you said 50-50. You see the drafts? What we got?
I think a left side will... I mean, they should stomp the early game. Like when Ryze gets 6, Ryze gets 11, he will have always the ult advantage. They will get a TP advantage out of it. I think early game top side should be absolutely in favor for G2. And I think G2's bot side is also pretty safe. I don't see much playmaking, honestly, from Fnatic's comp. Like, they have a Nautilus.
I'm heavy blue side, man. I'm heavy blue side. This is the comp that beat SKT, but they're facing G2. This is the wrong approach here. Veigar, oh no!
I mean, maybe if they go really late game, they will win for sure. But early mid, they should be able to execute and snowball from that. If they don't,
who's taking it? You've seen the draft, Frosk. Who have you got now?
I'm going to go with G2, but I do agree with Feathervin. If it goes super late, Fnatic have all of the tools to actually close on this one.
Scale for late against G2. Good luck in esports.
Okay, so we have to keep our eyes on the clock. If they pull this late, Fnatic are going to be pulling something rather crazy. I'm sure the fans that painted themselves orange today are going to be crossing their fingers of toes. Rekkles, of course, on the Aphelios that we talked a lot about. We'll be seeing that red-white Aphelios that Frosk drew our attention to. Let's jump into it, though. Ladies and gentlemen, the wait is over as G2 and Fnatic hit the rift.
And here we go, Europe. The matchup we wait for every single minute of every single day. Once again, hitting the riff. Fnatic versus G2. Studio Live with the sound of chance for both teams. But this is it. The Alienware match of the week. We've been waiting for, and already enter a wild, wild draft.
Dude, we're geared up for a phenomenal game right here. It's really interesting because you heard all the pro players before the break talking about they all predicted G2 to win. Then we have the analyst desk, everyone predicting G2 to win, saying they came out of the draft with the superior composition. But I can't help but feel like I've seen Nemesis on something like the Veigar before. You still have to factor in the scaling potential like we were talking about. And Fnatic do have a lot of great tools here, especially later as the game goes on. G2's competition heavily gated by range outside of the Senna pick, and that's where a Glacial Augment Veigar is going to be super, super deadly. You have to watch out for G2's early game.
Do they find the setup here? Level 1 from Fnatic. Wunder is going to walk away, unbeknownst to him.
Oh, I like this a
Members of
lot.
the enemy team walking in. They want to deny Jankos. I like this. Big sign of respect, trying to limit the pathing here from the Elise early on. Getting put behind as an Elise is so bad.
Here's the thing, though. Perkz is the first one to walk over, so this is quickly going to turn for a 2v2 into a 3v3.
Level 1 Veigar, though. Perkz goes over, denies on the blast cone. Wunder's now here as well. Bwipo's going to be in trouble. 3v3 skirmish. What ability did Nemesis take at level 1?
It's got to be the Q.
Has to be. Does take it, does get a little bit of poke, a little bit extra AP, but now
Oh,
it's
no.
Perkz who's caught out. He has to walk back to the top side. Flash, of course, still available. Might have to flash away from this one. GP level 1 is incredibly powerful. The flash away. Denial is there, but Perkz losing so much to try to protect his jungler, and Jankos still not really able to get anything.
So at the end of the day, it's Perkz' flash. He'll have to use his teleport to get back into mid lane as well. And Bwipo level 1 is just going to continue to take these fights. So across the map even, with the level 2 coming through from Fnatic in the bottom lane, means they are getting a slight advantage. Now this does come at the cost of Selfmade in the early jungle because he lost his flash, which heavily reduces his ability to impact this early game. And he is going to be delayed, having to run all the way back to his top side, down one full camp to Jankos.
And the interesting thing about this game is you can really talk about any lane, but the lane that I feel like we have to hit, not just because it's got the big names in it, but because I feel like it has the potential to be so explosive, just like
already.
From coming in, a lot of damage there on this. Is this lane, is this matchup? Because we know both of these supports, the two best undisputed supports in Europe, have incredible variance in their performance. On a good day, they look world-class. They look unstoppable. On a bad day, they will throw entire games away.
And we saw the last time these two teams faced off, you know, in those great five full game matchups, we saw bot lane supports be super swingy, but also the Caps versus Rekkles story of they were both on the same team. Caps goes into the bot lane now to face off against him. But here's what the analyst desk was talking about a bit, the top lane power, the diving potential of level 3 Elise.
But what did he opt to take for? He's level 3 now. It's going to make things a little bit harder. They get the TP out, and they are just going to be able to walk away. But no, the TP is denied in the mid lane. Now Bwipo has to run. Just a lot of experience taken away here by the side of G2. Well played, but it does mean they're giving up a lot. Selfmade now moving into the mid lane, but won't be able to get anything done. This is the problem with the Veigar. Does not have a lot of reliable setup here.
And eventually he will, right? Because you can do some clever combos. Post level 6, when Lee Sin just kicks the Rise into the wall, like there's not much counterplay to that. That just, even if you don't land the initial E there from Nemesis, you will be able to secure those stuns. At the same time, it's kind of funny too from G2, or rather from Nemesis' side, his TP got canceled out by Perkz. And Nemesis, he's really happy with that because he doesn't get denied any minions in the middle lane. But of course, Bwipo did end up losing so much and gets heavily punished.
I mean, this is huge. 23-9 is the CS discrepancy. Wunder debating what he wants to buy. Looks like he picked up the coal and then sold it. We're going to have to see what comes through. But already 300 gold difference in the top lane. Of course, Jankos paid for that. He gave up a buff to make sure that that could happen on the top side of the map. Nemesis gave up a TP as well. So a very big trade of relative cooldowns, but no one going down quite yet.
Yeah, now the question is, where does bot lane get frisky? Because Mikyx gets caught.
Pulling back. Have to look for a little bit more here. Rekkles now on the retreat. Not a lot of mana for the follow-up here. TP coming bottom. They know they have the TP advantage. Wunder moving in. On the way forward. G2 trying to find a kill. Locking down the Fnatic bot lane. Rekkles going down for first blood. You want a rivalry. This is how things get kicked off. 2 pickups. Whoa! Hylissang runs for the hills. Not going to go down that easy. Caps will find the kill in the end.
And Caps even stays alive, healing through the turret damage. A rare punish there where G2 have the TP advantage and get down into the bottom lane. We said bot lane was going to be a huge swing factor in this match, and just 5 minutes in, it already is.
1-0-1 the start. Wunder gonna grab a kill as well. He was already smashing top lane in terms of CS, and now we're gonna take a look at this one more time.
I mean, here's the thing, Fnatic, they see Elise on those Krugs, so they go into this fight knowing it could be a 3v3 very soon, but they don't respect the fact there's a TP to come on through. Now they're on the run. Jankos is able to zone Selfmade away from the fight. And the stacking of the Braum passive means there's nowhere you can go. The CC is almost impossible to play from Fnatic when they're that far pushed through the lane. And then Caps, even taking aggro, has the heals, has the potion running the entire time, which is so crucial to him surviving.
Well played. On the reset, though, Fnatic will get some pressure. Can now move to look to contest this Ocean Drake. But this is my concern, right? While I always want to see Hylissang on playmakers, specifically paired with an Aphelios, he has really nothing that stops people from just diving onto Rekkles. It is not nearly as reliable as a champ like the Braum or the Tahm Kench. But the good news is that Fnatic have turned a difficult situation into something that they can benefit from. A good reset does mean that Ocean Drake for them in the end.
And while they did lose 2 kills down there in the bottom lane, Fnatic have the tools to try and recover from this. Now, they're always going to have to deal with the potential for a rise to roam out of mid lane with the Realm Warp, but Hylissang just gets caught.
Delayed snare.
Oh,
We're gonna
no.
get 4 stacks on concussive blows. Hylissang locked up. They're gonna step forward to body block the hook. He cannot escape from this one. Another kill. G2 dismantling the Fnatic bot lane, but they're not done. They're going top lane as well. Bwipo not gonna get pulled back. Selfmade on the way in. Perkz level 6. Wunder level 5. He may have to give his life for this one. G2 overcommitting, and Fnatic are in position to punish. Follow up the resonating strike. Selfmade on the board.
Selfmade able to fire back right there, and G2 just thought they could win everywhere. It is too deep in the top lane, though, with the possibility for Nemesis to move on up. So Perkz wisely says, I'm going to sacrifice Wunder, and gets on out of dodge. But level 6 does have the advantage over Bwipo in this fight, I do feel. Still, taking account of everything that just happened, I mean, Hylissang stepping up forward here, no jungler on his side. The wave was in a tough position. That could have been frozen on G2's side of the map, so he will be punished in the end for this one. And I mean, G2 just don't give Fnatic a room to get out there.
And you got to respect Fnatic for this counterplay, for seeing this, for making this
Gank in the
happen.
top lane.
We're going to have to hold that thought. Mikyx now stepping forward. The point click CC. They just lock him down. They make it look easy, but now Bwipo sidestepping, looking for another opportunity, running. GP all laid down, but no one is here to follow up. GP, sliver of life, the slow, the double flash, and Jankos will grab another one.
Oh, such a good read right there from Jankos, holding on to his cocoon for so long, daring Bwipo to use the remove scurvy. No, Bwipo ends up going down in the end, and is G2 continuing to punch fast and quick, not giving Fnatic any real room out of this one, and Selfmade just feels like he's lagging behind on it. G2 just as a team understand it so much better.
And this is why we heard the skepticism from the analyst desk. Of course, Nemesis, fantastic Veigar player, no doubt about it. 2 solo kills. We all remember the Faker highlight reels, but as you heard the desk say, this is not SKT, this is not a slow game. This is G2, and if anyone is going to make sure that this champ never gets the chance to scale, it is G2 Esports.
Because G2 just have so many plays to play around it, right? They don't even have to gank that lane. Perkz can just leave with the Realm Warp. Now they've actually swapped Wunder in to pick up a couple waves while Perkz was busy killing Bwipo on the top side of the map. G2 continues to cycle through areas, and we got another fight.
Lockdown is there. Unbreakable going to buy a little bit more time, but Nemesis is on the way, and the baby cage going to get laid down. Mikyx still escaping for now. Rekkles locked up. Do they want to turn on this one? The spider goes down. Cap's coming over to the side, but has to be careful. He's all on his own.
Fnatic, they got the jump first, which looked good, but remember, Wunder was still hanging around right there, so they wisely backed up after not being able to find that initial pick. Not able to blow a summoner spell from the side of G2 either, so Fnatic continue to try to find these punches, and something I wanted to talk about a little bit earlier was the fact that while Fnatic lost those 2 kills bot lane, the flashes were gone on Caps and Mikyx. They had a GP ult, they had globals to try and repeat gank down towards that bottom side, but immediately as that was an option, Hylissang dies in bot lane. Then all of a sudden, Bwipo has to use his own ultimate to try and survive in top. He can't even get away from that, so the options Fnatic had to try and play into this composition from G2 got absolutely moved out, and now they haven't been able to find another way to get back in.
And in that period of time, we've now seen G2 amass a 1.6k gold lead, shifting back as Fnatic find some farm for themselves, but important points to mention. GP ult not too far away from being back up. Selfmade finally gets the kick. Rekkles with the ulti for setup as well. So all of the tools that Fnatic are looking to get outside of the Nautilus ultimate are now becoming available, and if there was ever a time for them to strike back, it is now.
Definitely is. Now, the other thing is, well, G2 starting up this Rift Herald right now, and with Rekkles in the bottom lane, means G2 will get this uncontested. 4 minutes to use that for turret plates too. So this gold lead is just going to continue to bloat and get larger and larger and larger And then the question is, how do Selfmade and Hylissang work together, really? Because this is the combination. Obviously, Fnatic brought in a new jungler in this season, but throughout their first 5 games already, I've still seen great coordination between Hylissang and Selfmade, roaming around towards mid lane, finding kills, finding picks, all of these different things. And we already saw a little inkling of that when they controlled the vision in the river, looked for the pick, and it did not work. But this is something we have to continue to track because that's really the only playmaking potential they have in this early game.
And absolutely, we've seen Selfmade get the ball rolling, burn flashes, maybe find a few kills, but not be able to convert it into a game win. Now they're playing the game on the back foot, and we have to see how they adjust, how they work together. For now, Fnatic committing to standard lanes, as we see G2 already splitting into the 1-3-1. Perkz heading down to the side of the map. You've got Caps and Mikyx playing around the mid lane. And they're not interested in extending the lane phase anymore. They want to push this advantage further and further.
Well, it's really funny. It's Fnatic sort of running there first and then G2 responding, which isn't usually how the dynamic of this matchup works. Usually it's G2 sprinting so far ahead of you, and then you're the ones just trying to go ahead and catch up. But Jankos once again around this bottom lane when Fnatic are trying to push it out. This time, though, Fnatic have their jungler and a ward to spot out Jankos.
Spider, of course, reveals him. Now the ward will reveal him. Hylissang and Rekkles just going to back up. They don't need to take any risks here. But overall, still very powerful. Rekkles has the ultimate. He has the setup. They can look to lock down Cash.
Oh my! Oh! Selfmade!
The synergy you wanted. You asked, Fnatic.
And there's a teleporting too. Jankos is in so much trouble. He walks into the wall!
He walks into it. That's not what you need. Up and down, trying to run away from that one. But the one shot on the back of the Vigar.
What is happening to G2?
They're just getting dismantled in an instant. All the tools available. Fnatic overstep. Mikyx will find one back, but Fnatic right back into the game.
But now in the top lane, it's 2v1. Bwipo tries to clear the wave. He doesn't stand a chance.
Ulti coming through. Bwipo buying as much time as he can. He's quite tanky, but the grass proc has already gone down. But
or does he?
The shot.
Oh!
Dance on him! That's what you love to see. It's not Fnatic G2 if there's not a little bit of BM on top.
Unreal! All across the map, the unexpected becomes reality. Bwipo with the outplay top lane. Fnatic turning it around with Selfmade's beautiful engage, landing the Sonic Wave over the wall onto Caps. It was a crazy series of events because it starts out beautiful and then it gets messy so quickly, and that's how G2 Fnatic games always play out. You see the genius in the plays, and then in the moment, things get heated.
Now we're going to have to see how heated it gets because Nemesis is on the way down. The TP is
That's another TP.
This is the exact situation G2 caught Fnatic with. Their TP advantage. They collapse on the bottom side. Caps is just first on the menu as the baby cage drops. He desperately tries to make it a save. Perkz on the way in. Can they turn the fight back? Hylissang potentially overextended, but Fnatic draw first blood in the fight as Caps goes down. Backing off now. Concussive blows proc. It will be the 1-for-1 trade. Mikyx incredibly low, but they can't continue to push forward. Both sides appear content to back off for now. G2 salvaging what could have been a disastrous situation.
Here's the thing, Fnatic had no ultimates. Those are just now returning, so they did not have the raw damage to cut through G2. Whereas G2's comp, all their damage, it's not packed into the ultimates. They have a lot of utility, map mobility, right? Like shielding from the Senna too. The actual laser beam, not the most impactful there. So G2 are able to reactively turn things around and end up punishing Fnatic because it's a great look at the start. I love this flank. Nemesis roaming down from mid lane, Bwipo with the teleport in from the side, but let's be honest, with the stopwatches to delay, Fnatic cannot cut through G2.
And as the fight wraps up, it just slows down, and obviously Hylissang, unfortunately, because of blows, does proc, and Fnatic backing off. They've got enough tools to escape, but remember, the longer and longer we go, I think the scarier and scarier Nemesis becomes. And for many members of the team, maybe they're not as concerned. Wunder can build a bit of MR and be fine, but for Caps, if he ever gets point and clicked as we move later on, he's just going to get one-shot by this champion.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, too, where you don't have a lot of great peel on the side. Of course, Braum can throw up his wall to try and soak up that big primordial burst coming through from Nemesis, but as soon as that shield goes down, that's when Fnatic will look to come on in. And I think there's really just two things that Mickey's going to be looking out for in these fights. It's Nemesis's ult, and it's going to be Rekkles coming in long range with the ultimates. Those are the two primary abilities that Mikyx has to be on point with to be able to block. Otherwise, the fight looks real solid from Fnatic.
Yeah, you do not want to front to back against this team because while they don't have appealing support like the Braum, what they do have is a baby cage from Nemesis, which means that Rekkles has all this free space to move. The same is true from Bwipo's barrels. So unlike the last time we saw Fnatic play against the top team, they're not going to have Rekkles just get kited around every single team fight, unable to deal damage. something that G2 have to respect, but they do have a 3-1-2 Elise. They have the inevitable threat of a Ryze, and Aatrox who's scaling up fine in the side lane. And these are things that Fnatic has to respect. Cannot start to bleed out in terms of individual lane advantages.
Yeah, here's the thing. While Fnatic do have 2 teleports, they don't have the best side lane champions, especially when there's a Ryze on the other side. Perkz always going to be super, super dominant. There's a 50 CS lead in the top lane for Wunder at the moment too, so Bwipo not having a good time. And what this means is, as the game stretches on longer and longer, it's not going to be G2 grouping up, bundling as a 5-man team looking for fights. Instead, it's going to be about them abusing you in the side lane. And this is something that they've been so good at for so long, and Fnatic, with this comp, just simply won't be able to deal with unless they're able to find engages themselves.
But the thing that I love is it will require perfect execution from G2, because when you have a Glacial Augment Veigar and he gets Spooky Ghost under his belt, if you overcommit, if you overextend, there will be a GP ult, you will be slowed, and you will die.
And the true power of this pick from Nemesis, bringing in the Veigar, is the fact that he can just keep G2 at range. You know, you can completely kite this comp because it's such a low-range composition when you factor in, you know, Aatrox in the top lane, Ryze has to get in your face to deal a lot of damage. Outside of the Senna, again, you're not really going to be threatened. So all he has to do is throw down the cage, throw down the slow effects from the Glacial Augment and the items that he's building, and then these fights become really difficult to navigate from the side of G2.
You can see, not scared to just walk forward, can stun the wave because it gets a bit more AP and buys a bit more time. And you're right, because we heard it on the desk, you know, there's not the most engage options here. Fnatic definitely having more in their favor, but Rekkles with the ultimate, Hylissang with the follow-up on the depth charge, Selfmade with the potential kick. It's on Fnatic to really dictate the pace of these fights, and it's on G2 to try to find these windows of opportunity, these picks, before Fnatic can group up and really try to force something.
Check this out, though. Slow's coming down onto Wunder. He doesn't have a lot of way to get out of this. Has to use the movement speed and the flash to escape because both Rekkles and Selfmade were on the way down. Now, the trade for G2 is that they're going to get the Rift Herald one more time, and this is super crucial for them if they're able to secure it. Now, he is on Vision, so Fnatic do have the ability to look for a play around mid lane, but if they get that, then they break mid tower and split into the 1-3-1, and that's where they become so effective.
And good flank ward coming in from the side of Mikyx, denying Selfmade the opportunity to go over the wall there. Fnatic seeing that they can no longer dive the mid lane, instead look to contest the Herald, but just do not have enough time to get into that area. Instead, the focus is the Drake. 3 or 2 already for Fnatic, looking to get a third. Mountain will, of course, be a nice little bit of extra if they can get the Mountain Soul for the fights to come. Not going to be too important against a comp that's mostly about sustained damage, but still nice to have.
I mean, it's always going to be good to have under your belt. Even just multiplying the base resistances here. And then the shield once you get that soul. Now, Fnatic, they're actually in a really good spot because they're able to secure this. If, again, we assume that team fighting looks better for Fnatic than spreading across the map, this means that eventually there's probably going to be a team fight around that next Baron, or around that next Dragon, right? And then Fnatic have the tools, have the zone control from not just the Veigar, but also the GP ultimate, the Nautilus too. They have a lot of ways to keep G2 away from the pit, and then they can secure that very powerful buff.
And we have to remember, it is still a gold advantage for G2. We just saw all members of G2 back at the same time. Go back, buy items, and I'll move right back onto the map. Now you can see a bit of split recalls from the side of Fnatic, which will put them at a small disadvantage with the amount of time it takes Selfmade to get back up on the map. You can see 3 members on the top side. For a small period of time, Fnatic are vulnerable. Nemesis, the flash being forced because of these recall timings, not having allies around to protect him, and that gives G2 access into the mid lane.
It's the thing G2 are so good at, is taking control and getting there first. And this is exactly that look, where they get the flash off of Nemesis. Now mid lane goes down too. Fnatic just going to try their best to pop the eye as all these outer towers fall down. And as I was saying before, now what this does, it means deep vision into Fnatic territory from the side of G2 that much easier. Fnatic have one less outpost to sort of defend themselves from the approach of G2, and that means that G2 can much more easily rotate between these two side lanes.
Oh, but here we go. Spooky Ghost going to lay down. Perkz slowed up. They're going to know Wunder's there as well. Baby Cage comes down. Perkz has to try to fight his way out of this one. Procs the phase rush, flashes out to safety. Good look from Fnatic. Small advantage, but maybe in the next few minutes they can convert it into more.
Yeah, it's a good look, especially because Rekkles, of course, has the ability to clear these waves in mid. G2 were backing away from that wave as it came on in, so G2 didn't really have anything they could punish Fnatic. As they sent 3 members in the bot lane, G2 get a push in top. They get a Raptor camp stolen away from Selfmade too, which at the end of the day, not going to pan out into that much.
Onslaught comes out, he's now locked up, he's now stunned. Rekkles going to be doing a lot of damage here, but can he actually finish the kill? There's the Sentinel coming in, Rekkles taken down. Wunder's going to walk away, but the kick back, Selfmade says not today. It's the 1-for-1.
Yeah, Selfmade put on a little Hylissang show right there. Said he was sick online yesterday, but he looks in good form today, finding multiple picks and turnarounds on G2.
Fantastic. Of course, still just a 1-for-1, and Perkz continuing to pressure in on the side lane, but I love it when these games feel so incredibly neck and neck. That said, the fights are going back and back. It's blow for blow. It's 7-6 in terms of kills, but it's the 3 Drakes of Fnatic versus the 3K gold lead on the side of G2. Still have to be careful because the Aphelios, while Rekkles is doing fine, only on 1.5 items. Needs to finish that Infinity Edge. Needs to get more power under his belt because the much cheaper itemization of Caps means he's a much bigger threat.
Yeah, same sort of situation now for Perkz as he's finished off his 2 items. He's facing down the cheap items on the other side, so good on him to keep up. And then now what I sort of expect to see from G2, especially in the solo lanes, on Perkz too, like he's going to a side lane a lot. He's soaking a lot of jungle camps too, try to extend his experience advantage over Nemesis and Bwipo and just become an even more dominant side lane threat, because as we see these neutral objectives spawning, the mountain in 2 minutes, the Baron already on the map, it's going to be him in a side lane. It's going to be the pain point for Fnatic.
And you got to respect that Fnatic go for this play, because if there is not the Senna ult there, it feels like Wunder is guaranteedly dead. But Caps, heads up play, always keeping his eyes across the map, and they make this one work.
And the shield gives Wunder the time to get the extra healing on top of that. So he goes from looking like he's 1 auto away from death to instantly half HP.
Ooh, but now we got the setup on the top side, Ender. And Baron was a big question for me. How is a comp with Senna like this going to get Baron? Both the rise there and the potential to pick. Could get something started. They don't want to overcommit here, though. They have to be careful. Nemesis slowing down multiple members. Cap's not going to get clipped by the barrel, but it's now GP versus Senna. Bwipo backing off.
I'm going to be honest, the more I see of this Veigar pick, the more I love it. Because yes, it doesn't have a lot of pressure in the early game, but when you think about how it interacts with G2's composition come the team fight phase, it looks very, very good for him. And then when we consider, oh, there's an Elise, there's a Rise, there's a lot of pick tools on G2's side as well, you can scout vision with the Spooky Ghost into the enemy jungle when your team isn't really built for that. So it covers a lot of the weaknesses for Fnatic, and assuming that they can stall out, he's only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
But it takes so much discipline too, Ender. You can't overforce, you can't overcommit, because if an Aatrox gets into your backline, if a Rise gets into your backline, you instantly lose a fight. That said, if you can zone out, if you can use those tools perfectly, G2 are going to be walking around not doing anything in the fights to come.
G2 have really good control over the jungle right now. This is the side effect of gaining that mid lane tower. Fnatic don't have any map control whatsoever. Whoa, Hilly, I don't know about that.
That's a Hilly play. All
Perkz is stuck top lane.
Dash away. Ulti now going to be used. The knockup will be there. Are they going to try to find the follow-up? Braum is there to body block. GP ult now coming out. Nemesis off to the side. Multiple members slowed up. Fnatic willing to chase from this one. But at what point do they back off? Flash now used once again. Hylissang keeps fishing with these hooks, and all
there's a TP from Perkz. Here comes the flank.
They want to find the flank. Rise, Realmore. Where's it going to go? Rekkles caught in the middle of everyone, but the baby cage is not enough to buy time, and now Perkz is moving in. He spotted an empty backline, and now he's trying to finish it off. He goes golden. He buys time. Caps now moving in as well. Going to be pulling a soul out. Selfmade taken down, knocked down. Double kill for Wunder. Going over the wall, trying to find the flank. Fnatic getting rallied, getting corralled, getting herded to their own deaths. There is no hope for them in this exchange. G2, they're going to get one. They're going to look for more. Bwipo going to try to trade it back, but Perkz finds it, and that's it. That's the dragon for G2.
Almost the clean ace with Mikyx just chasing him. So Portal Combat down in the bottom lane. And they're just going to delay him. Honestly, no, here's what you do. You delay the death timer as long as possible, then you can immediately take a 5v4 at Baron buff after just wiping this fight.
Hylissang just wants to die. They're waiting. Ooh, take their time on that one. 31 seconds for Hylissang. Everyone else is going to be up. Fnatic will be down to support if G2 want to force the play in the next 10 seconds.
All right, here's the play one more time. I mean, Fnatic goes so hard going towards Wunder, using the Gangplank ultimate, literally everything to try and find this pick. And the whole time, Perkz is top lane. Perkz just casually, pushes out the wave, then starts channeling his recall like, guys, I'll be there soon. I'm going to build, a needlessly large rod or something before he comes in on the flank. And at this point, after all the utility has been spent, the cage coming down from Veigar, both slows to being wasted here. Now they're completely exposed, and the terrain means that they can't escape back towards their side of the jungle. All these walls mean that all they can hope to do is turn and look for a kill, but with a stopwatch, you can't do that.
And this is what we talked about. You have to be patient. You have to play these fights cleanly if you're Fnatic, because once the cage is down, Hilly cannot save Rekkles in a scenario like that. The cage is really the only tool that buys enough space to keep Rekkles alive and happy, and the second he gets hit by, well, a binding from Senna, doesn't matter, even if he has a stopwatch, he goes down, and that Senna power and the Rise together monstered that team fight. No one did any damage on the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, I think the stopwatch too from Rekkles came in a little bit late, so the laser beam from Senna was able to do a whole lot of damage before he was able to block anything else coming on through. So now G2 have taken a lot of control. They've proven they can win the fights around the Drake. They can deny Fnatic getting that soul, and that's been the debate sort of this whole preseason. What's more valuable, playing for turret plays, playing for Herald, or playing for these dragons? G2 have decided that with the stronger early mid-game composition, you play for the gold in the early game, you boost yourselves into the mid game, and now you're in a prime position to close out.
Yeah, and additionally, now that Ryze has a few more items under his belt, they can start to look at Baron as a potential objective. Normally with Senna, it's a bit iffy if you want to take the time, just because she's so slow at taking the major objective. But now with Ryze able to be that machine gun to burst through that health bar, it is a possibility for G2. For now, though, it will be sticking to the side lanes, shifting a decent amount of attention to the bottom side of the map. Perkz gonna take the red buff. What can't he have? He's still an 80
He's gonna
carry
take
at heart.
everything.
It doesn't matter. Everything belongs to the Ryze.
The funny thing is he did the exact same thing when he was a bot laner. It doesn't matter what role he's playing. He's like, Jankos, you're
wait, no,
you're not gonna farm.
It's so wholesome.
Oh.
The thing you're never, ever gonna see in your solo queue games.
And then they fight over, oh, he's mad now. Caps just stole his Raptor.
I'm gonna pretend it was wholesome. Brotherly bond there.
Here we go.
Wunder, caught out. Of course, Bwipo is just gonna get scarier and scarier. For now, G2 now pushing into the mid lane. They've got the decent vision to protect themselves, and Perkz really is taking everything, going everywhere to grab all these resources. 270 CS to the 238 of Nemesis. Now with 3 items completed as well. He has to be careful. Selfmade getting the fight started off. That's going to be denying the protection for the backline, but they have to be careful. The GP ult now coming in as well. Fnatic, can they win this fight? Hylissang stepping forward. Rekkles untouched for now, trying to buy a bit more space. Here comes Wunder. Where's the baby cage going to go? Wunder needs to get into this. Bwipo is nowhere to be found. They're just going to back off. A single pick, a 1-for-1 in the end.
But the trade is for the jungler on Fnatic. That means G2 can immediately move over towards the Baron. They're actually not starting this one up. Very surprised to see that, not taking advantage of the death timer, and rather just saying, we're going to stall things out a little bit longer. Now the TP comes through.
Are they hoping to find one more pick? Are they hoping to bait Fnatic into this pit? You can see they're very carefully approaching. But G2 are just going to stick to the side lanes. Just going to stick to pushing out.
So Caps wanted to finish off his Youmuu's Ghostblade right there. So the maximum lethality build you can go for with those first couple items here on Senna. They're waiting for Fnatic to walk in. Now they're going to start this up, but Selfmade has survived, and Hylissang is here with 4 wards and 2 control wards to check the pit.
Infernal Chains comes out. They're just going to back off. G2, they're giving a ton of respect to Fnatic. You have to feel like if this was any other team, they would have just gone for the full finish.
Yeah, G2 kind of hung around the pit right there, wondering like, oh, are Fnatic going to come and try to face check, fight us, 3 or 4v5? And Fnatic didn't end up taking the bait. A good sign of restraint from them. Now here, Selfmade does find the pick. He even seems like he's a little hesitant, like, do I really want to make this kick happen? They do get it, but then look at Caps' range. Proccing Braum's passives from so far away and then sniping him out with the ultimate. That's the 1-for-1 trade right there with Hylissang going down, or sorry, with Selfmade going down as well. And then I really do think they could have gone back to Baron because Hylissang was so low and Selfmade wasn't up.
And you have to wonder if that's a bit of miscommunication there, because Rekkles uses the ult on a single target that's already flying into melee range of him. You have to think maybe he was like, Selfmade saved the ult, I can just ult instead. But as a result, Rekkles in no man's land. He's going to flash out to safety. Elite's going to leave. The major cooldown now burned for Rekkles. Forget what I was saying. That's the more important
I mean, it's
play.
also the HP. 10 seconds before Drake spawns, he needs to go over with Severum and find a wolf camp. So we just ulted.
For the heal? Does it heal if you hit no target?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's got to hit someone who's like, maybe someone's there, I don't know. But that's going to mean Drake should be easy, unless Fnatic try to contest. Rekkles full HP, actually.
Going in. Rekkles healed right back up on the Severum off of a single camp, and now he's looking to keep it going. He has the perfect setup for team fighting right now. Keep your eyes on the extra bullets. The max range. Is it going to be enough? Rekkles has so much space to work with, but I don't think they can do it. Nemesis now stepping forward. Gangplank, the Veigar. Something has to be enough. Perkz going in, though, and Jankos on the hunt. G2 shredding through Fnatic. It does not matter how many scaling picks they pack, G2 still find a way to win the fight.
G2 every single time, and it's this time Perkz flashing forward super aggressively. Now they realm warp over towards the pit. Selfmade is alive, but this Baron should be theirs.
And Papa Wunder, proud. You can see it. Gets to watch his boy dismantle Fnatic in this game. 52,000 to 45.8. Fnatic falling horribly far behind, and now G2 looking to put the final nail in the coffin with this Baron buff.
Yeah, it was Wunder's job to try and zone away Selfmade if he shows up. Time is running out.
What can he do? Q into Wunder. Try to use him as a highway back to the pit, but he doesn't have the time. 2K and dropping. Perkz and Jankos gonna lock this one down. Baron falling for G2 Esports.
And here's where things get oh so
Wunder.
easy. Wait a minute.
Looking to finish it out. TP going in. Wunder, has he overstayed? TP coming. Fnatic running a lot of resources just to look to turn this one back. The movement speed is there. The spooky ghosts are there. It's the ghost versus the demon. Who's gonna get caught?
Oh,
But now
Perkz.
Bwipo?
Wait, what?
Bwipo? Why are you here? No, not like this.
No, it's a 2v2 in the top lane. They're winning that too.
G2 are getting everything. Fnatic are just grasping at straws. They're just throwing their faces into G2.
We've seen this before in this matchup. Fnatic backs against the wall. It turns desperation. That was game 5 in Madrid where they just kept trying to force and force and force, and it cost them time and time again. This time, it happens once more. Around the dragon, around top lane. They hope to find Jankos here, but with the teleport to come in, G2 are pushing down mid lane. They're going to get that inhibitor. They're going to have the wave set up top lane as well. This might just be the push that breaks the camel's back.
Might be. What do they have left in the tank? Selfmade, Rekkles, and Hylissang are going to have to make one hell of a hold if they want to make it any further into this game. Kick's going to go wide. The hook's going to connect,
want
but that's not good. The stun is there. He's buying as much time as he can with the stun plate. Now flashing out, but he snared his own jungler. That's it. That's disaster. The knockups are there, and that's all she wrote. Fnatic, it was a good effort, a wholehearted try, but it was not enough. G2 have found advantage at every single corner. Nemesis trying to find the snare. The rest of the team now moving in. They're getting zoned away from their own base. You hear the child alive with the chance of G2. Let's go, G2. Smashing through Fnatic in the fights. Nemesis, the last man standing. Nothing left for him to get done. The heals coming in fresh. And that's it. G2 walking into the base. A victory lap for this team, for this lineup. Fnatic fought hard, but it was not enough. G2 remained the undisputed best team in the LEC. And what's a rivalry without a little BM? G2, gotta
Add those KDAs, baby. G2 duel style one more time here in the LEC. They've gone through. We had a top 4 when we came into league. We said Rogue, Origin, Fnatic, G2. G2 have now beaten all 3 other of those teams. They continue to prove time and time again that they are dominant, even after role swaps, even after seasons gone by. This team just looks so damn good.
And so many fights, so many exchanges, look so close, but it's always